There you are.
Hola Lore,
Hola Lau, ¿cómo estás?
just on time.
Ah,
Okay,
Yes.
Hola.
hello everyone. Welcome to this new space that I hope you will enjoy. Thank you, Lorena, for being part of this. Rene, thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Thank you very much, Laura P., for helping us to develop this space for the officials. And well, Willard will join a
Perdón.
little late. So I will leave you, Lorena, Rene, and Laura to start with this session. Please instruct your audience on how they have to work with the microphones and cameras. I will mute mine and I will close my camera, but I will be here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bueno, yo voy a empezar en español para todos los de habla hispana. And René will introduce this open space to everyone who speaks English. I will go in Spanish, René, first.
Okay, you go for it.
Acá vamos a hacer esto con René juntas. La idea es hacer este mix, un Spanglish. Obviamente René hablando en inglés, yo en español. Así que por favor, todos los que tengan dudas o necesiten que ahí le haga una translation, me avisan, ¿sí? Me ponen ahí por el chat o por el micrófono. Bienvenidos acá, qué bueno que se sumaron a este Open Space. Lo pensamos como justamente esto, un espacio abierto entre pares, para nosotros los oficiales, para que podamos compartir nuestras experiencias. Y bueno, la idea es que lo coordinemos oficiales que tenemos un poco más de experiencia y así poder crecer todos juntos porque, bueno, seguramente René y yo aprendamos cosas hoy también. Así que ahora les vamos a ir contando bien un poquito cómo funciona esto. Eh, para los que no me conocen y me vieron en películas como algún torneo, mi nombre es Lorena Rinaldini y soy de Argentina. René, all yours. I just told them what is this open space about. So do what you need to in English.
Okay. I have no clue all the things that you said because I'm not.
I
That was
know.
one of my
No,
goals
no,
to learn Spanish since there's no hockey this fall. So first of all, welcome everyone. It's all for PATH officials for open space. This is for all of us to learn together as a team. Please don't be afraid to talk up. We may make mistakes. Be honest and open. We're going to listen, give advice. You're going to give advice to each other because it's not us telling you everything. We're going to pull information from you. You're going to share your experiences, and that way we will learn together. My name is Renee Zokin. I'm from the USA, and we'll be working with Lorena in this presentation.
I will put the presentation right now. I will share my screen.
And thank you for spending time with us this evening. We appreciate it.
Can you see the presentation?
It's coming. Yes, we can.
Great.
So I just kind
Bueno,
of went over that. Yeah, I
yeah,
went over that in English.
go. Do you wanna start in English?
I did this part already.
Ah,
I can
okay,
go
wonderful.
share the next one. Yeah.
Lo que yo le quiero decir a todos acá es que no tengan miedo ni vergüenza de preguntar, no hay errores ni respuestas acertadas. Bueno, es lo que les decía, es un espacio honesto, un espacio abierto, así que el que quiere hablar, el que quiere decir algo, tenemos el chat para poder compartir algo, pero estaría bueno que abran el micrófono y compartan, ¿sí? Preguntas, dudas, experiencias, algo que escucharon, algo que vieron, lo que sea, ¿sí?
Okay, and we want you to, if you're already in and you logged in and you didn't have your name next to yourself, but I saw somebody, it says that they're field hockey. We need to know who that person is. Just make sure everybody has a name, or maybe they fixed it. I see a
But
name by
we are
everybody.
we are going to do something different. So because we are going to change our names on the chat, and everyone will set their names as official. So also the chat can be anonymous, and you are not afraid or shy to ask any question or any doubt that you have. Todos por favor vayan al chat, ¿sí? Y editen su nombre, pongan official, que no aparezca el nombre de cada uno. Así todos aparecen como oficial y con doble F, si no vamos a saber quiénes son los de inglés y quiénes son los de español. Así que así eso también es anónimo.
Yeah, and then when you want to speak, you can open up your mic to speak. You also can put information in the chat area, or you can raise your hand, and we'll keep an eye on that.
Good. We will skip this check-in because we are all tired of COVID, so we are going to start our presentation. Renee, you go.
Yes, okay, so we're going to start with first the international steps. Okay, so I guess we've gotten information from people in the past. When you get an international appointment or you get a PATH appointment, I mean, everyone gets a little bit scared. So let's hear some concerns on getting your first appointment. You can raise your hand, you can speak out. We're fine with that. We want to hear from you.
Les vamos a pedir, por favor, que si no hablan, que pongan en mute el micrófono. Please, everyone, mute their mics and unmute it when you are going to talk, so we don't have any background noise. Thank you. Bueno,
So
acá tenemos.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
if we don't hear from you, we will ask you. We can ask, because I know that some people have had, like Aaron, I know you've had an appointment. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, your concern when you get an appointment?
Y acá hay mucha, I was going to say same, hay mucha gente con experiencia, así que vamos, acá súmense, ¿sí? Recibo un appointment, para algunos quizás es el primer appointment de la PAF que reciben, para otros reciben un appointment, no importa si es el primero o no. ¿Cuáles son las primeras preguntas, las primeras dudas que vienen, ¿sí? Que vienen a la mente o con las cosas que hay que lidiar? ¿Quién comparte? Who wants to share yes?
So I think the first thing for me was trying to figure out how to get to where the appointment was, like the travel arrangements, trying to figure out how to do that. That was one of my biggest, concerns. Now, just going to Guyana. I've never been, so it was definitely outside of the comfort zone.
Right. Okay. Anyone else? Brenda, I know you've been around. Javier?
Hi, everyone. There's always a lot of excitement when you finally get the appointment, and I've been fortunate enough that quite often that I just know when I have to be there, and travel has been arranged, but sometimes it's the connections. If you're on your own, nobody from the West Coast is traveling to where I'm going, making that connection and keeping that communication between the organizers, and that has always been there. Then when you arrive, I've had some amazing, some interesting travel where luggage hasn't come, and I've learned to always take a carry-on with my kit with me. that I need so that I am ready to, like I get off a plane and I'm going straight to a field like I have, and we start the tournament. I've had 2 events that I've done where that has really come into play. But always had amazing people in every country that I have had the opportunity to work at. I've always had great people that I've met.
Brendan, that was a great point to carry on your essentials with you, because luggage can get lost. So I would take that, and I know that Lorraine and I both do that. That's an excellent point to make.
Yeah.
Very good.
We have another concern over the chat. It's if I will be on the level for the tournament. I don't know how to say it properly in English. If I will be okay to the level of the tournament.
Oh yeah, I think what you're saying is to be at each tournament has a different level, and you want to make sure that you perform at the level of that tournament.
That's
correct?
it.
Yes. Yep. Well, Lorraine and I had a long discussion about that today. I don't know if anybody else can say anything about that has been around at the level of that tournament wherever they go.
Yeah, well, hi, hello to everyone. When I get my first appointment, a part of the level, if I be at the level of the tournament, my question was about the payment, the host, how is the logistic for travel, for when arrive, how be my contact for travel to airport, to the I don't know, meeting rooms, to the hotel, something like that.
Okay. It's always a concern, especially when you're out of your comfort zone, like Aaron had said, when you're going to another country and you may be going to a country that the language is not your primary language, and that can always be challenging. Other information people want to share?
There's nothing in the chat.
Renee, I can offer something as well. If there's paperwork, visas, etc., that might be needed, and making sure that different countries have different relationships, to knowing that some people might need it, some others might not, and making sure you have all the correct paperwork, for example.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
I have one question. I was wondering about local weather conditions, if that will be in the packet that comes out from Laura with the event coordinating. Like at the beginning of the call when you guys were talking about the high school season being pushed back to winter. So that will have huge implications for most of us coming up.
That's true. Well, where would that resource be? I'm going to put a question out there. If you are at a tournament, you have certain papers that you work by, would anyone be able to offer where they would be able to find that resource on weather conditions?
My guess will be the liaison officer.
Okay, liaison officer. Well, where would there be guidance? Like there's like certain papers. Where would you be able to find those certain papers?
Oh, PAF has an event. I can see it, an event manual, I think it is.
Yeah.
I've just gone to our local consulate government website is where I've gotten that information. Or I've talked with people who have traveled there recently and just picked up the phone and made the connection with them, whether they're umpires, officials, or somebody. Just, if I can have that personal connection, it makes it a lot easier. And that way I can ask them, tell me something about your experiences when you've traveled there, what's something to know, what's something to be aware of, and that makes it a lot easier. All
excellent advice. So to answer the question on the weather conditions, the FIH has guidelines on, and we were going to show you those in the later time of this presentation of where to find that. So we'll go over that a little bit later. So we're going to table that to a little bit later. So why don't you go to the next slide, Lorena, because we've had some good discussion on this.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the things were brought up. Respond. First of all, you got to respond and make sure that everybody knows you're coming or you're not coming. There are times that you can't attend, and that's okay. But you do want to make sure that they are coming. You want to answer all questions that the TD might have for you and any officials, because you might have to have the visa and you might have to send a picture of your passport. You want to check on, your local arrangements, travel arrangements, and also where you're going arrangements. Take your kit. Make sure you have all of your equipment together. And as Brenda said, take it on the plane with you. Read up top. Read and take any of the tournament regulations, and make sure you have a copy of the rules. However you take that, either it's electronic or if you like paper, you take paper. Make sure you've educated yourself on TMS, that you can access that. You've practiced it so that when you get there, you're ready to roll. And then make sure you have the proper uniform that has been requested by the TD or the local organization. Lorena, anything to add on that?
I will go with Spanish, just
Spanish?
in case.
Okay. Yes.
Para todas las preguntas estas que hubo de si necesito visa, qué pasa con el viaje, o viajo hacia un lugar donde no sé cómo va a ser el clima y demás. Una cosa es el clima para saber qué ropa llevo, y otra cosa es saber cómo manejar las condiciones del clima durante un partido. Sí, para todas esas preguntas yo voy a ir recibiendo mails con información. El director del torneo, la delegada técnica o el delegado técnico va a ir mandando información a medida que la vaya teniendo, pero lo que decían era, puedo contactarme con algún otro oficial a ver si viajó a ese país, puedo contactarme con algún árbitro que me diga algo, si necesito visa. Eso, igual el tema de la visa, tengo que chequear mi pasaporte, y una vez que me llega la designación, si es que puedo ir, tengo que fijarme, googlear, a ver si mi país, para entrar a ese país, necesita visa, y claramente ahí me contacto con mi asociación nacional para ver si la tramito yo, si mi asociación nacional quizás me ayuda con eso, o tiene algún arreglo especial para deportistas, ¿sí? Después, el tema del clima para los partidos, durante los partidos, para eso hay ciertas políticas ya definidas, que más adelante le vamos a decir a dónde encontrar ese documento en la FIH, ¿sí? Y siempre que yo tengo una designación internacional, va a estar copiado en ese mail mi asociación nacional. Y ese sería el contacto más directo para toda la parte administrativa, ¿sí? Después me designaron para un torneo. En la página de la PAF va a estar toda la designación. Entonces ahí voy a ir viendo quién es el director de torneo, que se va a poner en contacto conmigo, y ahí voy a poder hacer las consultas que necesite en cuanto al torneo en sí. ¿Qué más? Bueno, tener mi kit, quizás no todos lo tengan, pero asegurar ahí, a ver, che, quién tiene, quién no tiene, o pedir prestado, quizás, la catedral, el anillo, centímetros, bueno, todo lo que yo necesite, asegurarme de leer las Tournament Regulations, el reglamento del torneo, que esta información la va a mandar el delegado técnico, el director del torneo, pero si quizás yo ya sé que es un juego panamericano o algún torneo en particular, seguramente ya esté posteado eso. Así que entrar siempre a la página de la Panamericana, leer las reglas del hockey todo el tiempo, ya sabemos que cambian cada 2 años, así que tratar de estar ahí bien actualizado, y todo el resto de la documentación y reglamentaciones. Si se va a usar el TMS u otro sistema, asegurarme que tengo acceso y practicarlo, ¿sí? Si es la primera vez que lo voy a usar, hay todas unas guidelines también y unas preguntas frecuentes para el TMS y si no, empezar a contactar a otros que lo hayan usado como para poder ahí hacer algunas consultas. Bueno, el director de torneo ahí ya dirá cuál va a ser el uniforme.
Okay, so now you've gotten your appointment, and it could be appointed in two actually various roles now. Either the TD, and we can go on to the next slide, Lorena, or the TO, which is then broken down to when you're appointed for each game, either a technical officer, a timing judge, or a scoring judge. So let's say you're appointed as the TD. Can you give me some roles and responsibilities of what that person does? And let's go to Richard, because I know, Richard, you've been around as well.
Well, sorry, good afternoon all. The TD role is basically to oversee the performance of the appointed TOs. Well, whether it's timing judge or who is on TMS, the clock. Overall, making sure that from the onset, from you get there, all of the things are in place to start from the checking of the equipment down to the credentials of the athletes. All of that falls under the remit of the TD, who ensures that before the beginning of play, everything is in line with the FIH guidelines and also the competition guidelines. If it is, they are observing unique rules based on where the competition is being held. All of those things. The meetings are kept, the TD is in charge, and pretty much to make sure that there's a smooth running of the tournament from you get there, not from the day one of competition, but from you get there to when you depart for your home.
Okay. Other things that anyone else wants to add? Javier?
The TD is in charge, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Reports, everything comes up.
Right. And Kata, I know you're out there. You've been around a little bit too. Do you have anything to add to what Richard gave us?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I have a little problem with my audio, but I think everything is okay now.
Okay.
The TD, Richard saying the obligation of the duty of in his work, no, he control the tournament. He has the all responsibility of the tournament. Everything ran well, and all the problem is for the TD. So the official has a little responsibility, but if the official do something wrong, all the problem it's for the TD.
Yep. Everything come back to TD.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So when you're finished speaking, make sure you mute, because somebody has a lovely bird that's talking to us.
It's not mine.
Okay.
It's actually my part.
I have a cat. So
okay. Okay.
Someone else who wants to share about the TD?
There's a few more things that the TD has to work with, or who they work with. Some who's. Anyone who hasn't spoken yet, or people who have spoken, be happy to listen to your feedback.
Hi, Laura here. I would like to say something.
But Laura,
Yes,
you
please,
know
Laura.
everything. You know everything.
No, 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 no. I just
Really?
want.
Do you
I
have a
would like.
question?
No, it's not a question. I would like to share. I would like to share. In first place, I would like to link it with what we spoke before, because at the beginning, now I'm an ex for those who don't know me, but at the beginning, concerned about everything, not one thing. Everything was a con- so I got used to
Laura,
making my own list. No, but it is my biggest concern has always been to be abolitionist, but that because that is what my basis on what I would have to perform. So rules, regulation, to read them, to I used to my doubts to take it to the tournament or to the briefing to ask my questions. I could say sometimes many questions, but that's the idea, to share our doubts, to be consistent in between us. So I used to do that. And going to the role of the TD, one of the first things I usually did is to look at my team, to look at the team that was appointed for that tournament, to see if I knew the names. If I knew them, to know their strongs and not, and how we could work as a team. And if I didn't know them, to try to find out about them, we'll work together and push forward in between
Yes.
others.
Yeah. Sure. And even if you don't know any names, sometimes introduce yourself and I don't know, starting conversation before traveling, before going to the tournament too.
Exactly, to start the connections, to start to know each other, etc., etc.
Yes. Okay, Maureen, you want to just bring up the guidelines and we can just review them for the TD? So it is an expansive role, and I think that Richard and Javier and Laura brought up some good points. You are responsible for everything, pretty much, supervision of the event on behalf of the governing body that has appointed you there. You want to ensure that you want to follow the rules and regulations, that the tournament runs by those. You ensure the pitches and the facilities comply with those rules and regulations. You assist, the UMs, because you have to review the umpires and your technical officials, and you're responsible for all appointments for, every match. Day-to-day approval of the umpiring and the technical official appointments, as well as all of the clothing that the teams will wear. You're going to watch everything to make sure that the team managers and the tournament officials are working well together, and if there's any issues, that you can help both, follow the rules and regulations of that tournament. You want to provide the governing body with reports at their end, so that they if there's areas for them to improve or areas that they did a great job at, you want to give them a great pat on the back, and then you want to help them be better the next time. The TD does not have the power to consider any protest from the decision of an umpire or technical official during a match, and decisions are subject to appeal. And the TD may suspend a player regardless if they were issued a card or not, and usually you have, there's a whole process for that, and you usually have now that video is so easily accessible, there's lots of video out there to show you why you may need to do that. And it depends on how bad the infraction is, that the suspensions, if they are suspended, they can go beyond that tournament. Lorena?
¿Alguien necesita traducción de algo en español sobre este texto? Abran el micrófono directamente. Sí, no. Así, si no, seguimos.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Perfect. Right. We can go on. I will go back to the presentation, so and then I go forward. Are you okay?
Okay.
So we go with the
right,
TO.
The TO. So now, what are the technical official roles and responsibilities? You've appointed as a technical official. And now that the judge and the technical official are lumped as one, we can cover all of it. So what does the technical official do at a tournament? What are your roles and responsibilities? You all have done this, so you all can give some feedback.
I think,
If you don't,
sorry.
use the chat. If you don't want to open your mic, use the chat, please.
Make sure the teams are ready to go for the matches and TMS.
Make sure everything is in place prior to the start of a game. The TO will be in charge of the judges behind, ensuring that everybody is ready to go. The doctor is present. Certain adherence as it relates to teams on the bench. All of those things are in place. We know that from time to time, persons who are not on the match card want to come sit to them team. Them like alternates will try to come and sit on the bench. So you ensuring that only authorized persons is in that technical area, which includes both benches and the staff work in the game. Throughout the game, you have to be on the ball as it relates to all that's happening on the pitch, where changes are being made, unauthorized, running on and off the pitch, observing if there's any blood on the pitch going during the game. In that case, if there is, make sure the appropriate cleaning agents are there to go and clean up the spot before you can carry on. So it always has to be an eyes that is 360 degrees prior to the game and throughout the game. And at the end of the game, ensure that there are no disputes and everything is properly signed off before the teams depart the venue.
Excellent.
I'll even add stuff before the tournament starts with equipment check and document checks, and make sure that everything is prepared for teams even before games get started. How can you assist the TD, making sure everything is done from that standpoint, and also recognize where there might be some communication problems, see how you can support in that area as well, especially if there's language barriers, if there's a way to support with teams in that regard as well.
Excellent. Excellent points. Anyone else have anything?
Yeah, shouldn't the TO be aware if there's any special events going on for the matches and take that into account? Let's say, 100th match or whatever.
Yes. Excellent. You guys are well experienced here. And Maria, I think we can go. You want to do the TO?
Yes, I can do it. You've been covering a lot about the technical officer duties. Of course, we also report to the technical delegate. We coordinate and allocate duties with the judges for each match. I need to know, and it's super important to know that I'm not alone there. Maybe the judges are on the technical table. It's on a different level, or maybe it's quite far from what the TO needs to be. But I'm not alone. My part of my team are the two judges and also the umpires on the game. So. I have my responsibilities, but I'm part of a team per each match. As you were saying, overseeing and checking all the field, checking the field before the match starts, and also during the game, watching the game, watching the surroundings of the pitch. Also, all the previous part of checking, we do it with the judges also, managing the watering of the pitch and also the safety things on the pitch, We are the ones that are going to decide if the pitch needs more water or not. So that's part of our responsibility. Be aware of that. That's why the ground manager needs to be almost my best friend. I need to know who that man is and how the watering cycle runs. I need to know to have that information if I'm going to be the technical officer, of course, once I'm there, I'm on the pitch. I will also be in charge of the ball boys or the ball girls, the umpires, how everyone enters the pitch. There are always different protocols before each match. So I need to be in charge and oversee all of those. What else? Control the match and always be there for the players. Managing benches, managing the substitutions, as you all were saying, timing suspensions, and also with my team of judges managing injuries. And then, of course, supervising and being in charge of the documents, especially the match report, and about the signing, and maybe there is some protest or something like that. So I will be in charge of that situation too.
Also, where that ground person is concerned, Rinaldi, you want to make sure that things like the lights, stadium lights, that situation, you want to make sure you're on top of it. You don't want to be in the middle of the game and wondering if these lights are suitable or if they're going to be working. So,
yes,
yeah, that
exactly
is very important to know. The
yes,
local
very
team.
good. Very good point. Yes, you always will have that person which is in charge of the pitch, and of course it's always a man, and he feels like the pitch is from his own. So he's in charge of the lights, he's in charge of the watering, maybe in charge of the hoses. If the watering has some issues in some places, he will be the one who knows where the water reaches perfectly, where are the floodeds, if it rains. So yes, you need to meet that man and start conversation and a relationship with that person, because you will be talking with him during the whole tournament. So and it's really needed.
That's right. And
I
it does
only want to add, sorry, Renee, add
Okay.
one more task for this duty. The manager with the TV. I think
Yes.
is very important. The time of the starting the match, in coordinate with the TV. Depend of the level of the tournament, of course.
Yes. Yeah, that would be the red hat. There's usually a person on the sideline, and you have to be aware as well. It depends on, as Javier said, the level. There may be interviews during the game, between quarters, halftime. You have to be prepared for that and ensure that the safety of the players on the pitch going on and off are okay, depending where they're going to do those, and you have to coordinate with them prior to the game to make sure it's all in a place. But that was a great point, Javier. Okay,
And,
so
and
the
here
judge.
we have a question over the chat.
Okay.
Do all technical officers work in the same way at all tournaments? Renee? No. This is a question for everyone. What do you think?
What do you think?
We will have two situations. Maybe one it's what really happens, and maybe the other one is what it should happen, maybe. And here you have almost the answer. But what do you think? Do all TO work in the same way at all tournaments? What's your experience? Start sharing. This is your space. For you, it's not for Renee and myself.
Right.
I find that, sorry.
Go on.
I always found that the pre-game chat, the communication is key for a TO. Your communication with the managers, with all of the personnel, but your key one is having that focused discussion before the match begins on how you work to your strength, what you would like your technical table, how they can support you in your role, how you can support them, and just to really clarify that. And that kind of plays to your strengths. But the communication was always key, and I found that to be, in my recent experience, the people that I worked with that really kind of set how they needed to be supported by their other officials at the table. And I really appreciate the fact that people took the time to go and have a brief conversation with managers and what they, because every venue was different in the setup. And so those safety concerns, you needed the coming on and off of the pitch and things like that, you needed to be aware of, and sight lines for the table is key. And so how can we work together to make sure that this is good? But that communication prior to a game with your table, how it's going to work was always key.
Great points. Communication is the number one priority of everyone's role. So that was a very good example. Anyone else?
Someone else wanted to speak too?
Hello. I was going to say that even though we all follow the same rules and procedures, we are all very different people. So I think that, as they say, communication is extremely important, and also that it is important to be open to understand what is best or what is better for the people that you are working with, and maybe to agree and to reach the best way that you can find to work together as a team in that particular tournament, apart from the rules that we always have to follow.
That was a very good point.
What else? Someone else wants to share something about this? If we all work in the same all tournament in the same way?
Or give an example of when you were at a tournament?
Yes, an experience. Maybe a friend of yours told you that in a tournament something happened.
And what went well, and maybe what didn't go so well.
I only have a question about that. The question is about the work in the same way at all tournaments or in this tournament.
The question says, do all TO work in the same way at all tournaments?
All tournaments? No.
Yes.
I think no.
And
expand on your thoughts, please.
Yes.
I think depend of the tournament, because you have I think you have teams, a tournament junior, you maybe work more explain than you have a top level tournament. You don't explain things about things happen in the tournament. You must apply the rules, for example. So if you work in a tournament like under 18 or whatever, you are you're a teacher, I think so, on the field. If you have the same way in all tournaments, you maybe you are too hard for the under 16, under 18 tournament, or maybe you are more soft for Olympic tournament, for example.
But hard or soft according
The level,
what
the
give us an example so we understand when are you doing these differences.
because in South America we have teams with different levels. Teams they are learning. We are learning, but the teams is learning. Maybe start playing 1 year ago, so never been before in a tournament of this, and we know, and I think we work in together to do the best for the hockey, no? So
Yeah, sure.
maybe you, for example, to Argentina, okay, they know everything. So if you have a Panama here, maybe you need to explain more to be more soft for sanciones. I think so.
But you are saying we as an official being
An official
being more
in the middle of the
more
match
about the
yes.
regulations. Explain the regulations.
Regulation,
explain the rules of hockey to the officials, to the team manager,
to the
for
team
example.
manager. Yes, to the team manager. You must think you you need be
Si querés decirlo en castellano
Lorena,
y yo te traduzco.
sí, es que tú dijiste que tenías un equipo con los dos jueces.
Sí.
Yo sumaría a los team managers, ¿no? Al equipo. Y el team manager que es inexperiente, porque tú sabes que es inexperiente, tenés que explicarle más para que en otro partido crezca. Si uno viene y le aplica todo el reglamento duramente, como un team manager de Argentina, que saben todo y más que uno, no tiene sentido porque vos no lo podés hacer, ¿entendés? No lo podés hacer crecer, que es tu idea. O sea, dentro del hockey nosotros tenemos que hacer crecer el comportamiento dentro de la cancha, eso es lo que voy.
Sí. Perfect. Yes, Javier was saying just to be to help those teams that they don't have many experiences, and of course we can see that the team managers they don't have much more experience on their role, and I don't know if all of the Argentinian team managers have a lot of experience or if they know about the rules and the regulations. But I get, we all get the point, yes, to
play on the line,
of
the
course,
Argentina team manager.
Yeah, of course, the rules are the rules, and the tournament regulations are there, and those are the most important thing, just to for everyone to play on the same way, with the same rules, with the same regulations. So it's part of the fair play too. But of course, yes, we need to know and we need to have this sense of those teams that are playing for their first time, or they don't have many international tournaments. And of course, we need to help them. We need to talk with them. That's part of our relationship. And also, Javier was saying that he will put into the technical official
or hard,
team.
Depend of the.
Javier was saying that he will add to the technical officer team also to the both team managers. And this is part of building a relationship with all of the team managers. We will meet them since we arrived to the tournament. So it's part of that relationship that we build as an officials. We have a question here on the chat. What could we work or develop as a TO to facilitate our match management? And this question, of course, it's a very good one. It's open to everyone. It's not for us
Not
to
just
answer
for us.
it. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Start sharing. Start maybe you I don't know. I will start. I will start with an example. I'm working in communication, in how can I have better tools to communicate myself with everyone in a tournament, because there are different peoples where we need to communicate with. So I'm working on this communication. Not verbally, because of course I'm a Spanish native speaker, so I need to improve my wording sometimes. Other times I need to improve my um, the words that I'm using, my vocabulary, and I'm working on my body language most of all, because I know that when I'm serious, when I'm concentrated in something, I know that my face looks like if I'm angry at something. So I had TDs that approaches me and saying, Lorena, please smile. And other TD approaching me saying, Lorena, are you okay? Something is happening to you. And I was surprised, saying, no, I'm okay. I'm here. I was here. I was on the game. I was on duty, so I was focused on the game and what I needed to do. So this is a thing that I'm working on. So come on, everyone, share something. Laura, no te rías de mí, ¿eh?
Eso se lo dijiste en español, ¿eh? Okay. I think we need to work tournament in all tournament. I think I improve we are learning all the tournament. We start in 0 and we learning each tournament and each match. So I connect with the first question about if I feel well in this kind of tournament or not. I think each the official is selected for improve his level, no? So you need, I think, to improve, you need to pay attention at all guideline the team manager say to you. I think you need to write everything of the match to like a book, each match, each thing to you see about the match, the player, the team manager, the everything. So I think that the best thing you can do each match is writing everything. So you can improve your attention at the things of the match. And start looking the match. Then when at the finish of the tournament, I can look in all the people on the tower of the coaching to the player in wrong way, and you can look everything. Someone say that you need to have a age around the head, no? And you need to look everything. So you need to write everything to feel well to work.
Yes,
I think so.
Great. Thank you. Someone else?
Yeah, I think that it is.
Lorena, Sorry.
Dale.
No, sorry, Rene. That is it's right what Javier says about every tournament being an experience directed to what Lore, how what can we work or prepare ourselves to be a better CEO, to have a better management, and of course communicate. Verbal commitment, the general attitude is something that we have to use as a tool. What is very important, and I think it was pointed on that way. But of course, you learn and you learn from two things at a tournament as TO for and every get going in René.
Agus, ¿ibas a compartir?
Yes, I was going to say that I think that maybe it will also help to have a nice relationship with both team managers, and I think that it is very important that they know that we are there not to bother them or to punish them, but to help them so that the match can go on in a nicely manner. I mean, without any interference or troubles. But the key, I think, is that they know that we don't want to bother them, but we want to help them.
And in order to succeed on that situation, what can I work on? What can I develop? What skills can I have? What skills can I work on or start developing? That I think that was the question.
I think that maybe.
Sí, dale, Agus.
No. That maybe you can. Maybe you can have a conversation with them before the match, so they already know what you want and how they need to behave. And still there are any problems during the match, I think that the way that we talk to them is very important. Specifically the first time, for example, that we talk to them, to say it in a nicely manner or like a suggestion. So I think that this way they are going to receive it much better, and they are going to accept it in a different way.
Good, thank you. Gaby, ¿andás por ahí?
Hello. Yes, the same that the others said before, like have a good communication with your teammates, with the team manager. Sometimes, in my case, I'm a little shy, and that affects my communication a little, my communication with others. And I think in my case, I have to work in that to communicate better. My body language, as you say, Lorena, is very important. Sometimes we are very concentrated in what are we doing, and we put some faces, sometimes weird faces. And in my case, I have to work on that and try to get more tools and to communicate better with my teammates, with the team managers, with the TV, with everyone, everybody.
Gabby, that's great information. And you know, as you can tell, I can hear from you that English is not your first language, and English is my first language. So sometimes I speak too fast for not native English speaking people. So it always is important, no matter where you are, if even with your colleague that speaks your language, to speak slowly if someone's learning your language, so that everybody can understand and learn together. Otherwise, you know, you may miss something, and if you are afraid to ask because you're shy, you know, it won't help with your progress. So it is important for, like me, I have to speak slower, and I know that. And it's important so that you understand what I'm saying, as well as Lorena or anyone else that's not a native English-speaking person. So that was a
Yeah,
great point that
sometimes
you brought up.
sometimes we understand what we are listening, or we know how to say the things that we want to say, but sometimes we are afraid of saying for some, I don't know, mistake, making some mistake. I don't know.
No, I understand
Sometimes,
completely. No, I understand what you're saying because you're afraid if you don't use the right word.
yeah,
You know, I know Lorena. I have like Spanglish, and she like, well, she'll giggle at some of my Spanish that I use for my work. And so it is. I don't feel comfortable because I have an accent, so it's more challenging to speak Spanish. Just as you are speaking English, you're afraid because you may say the wrong thing, or I totally understand that. It is challenging, and people
Yes,
have
and
to understand that because when we go to like all over the world, you could be in Germany, you can be in Italy, you can be in Argentina, you can be, the language is not the primary language, but English is the language of the FIH. So even the local organizing committee may not have anybody that speaks English, so it is challenging sometimes to get work done.
yeah, sure. And I link this with what Richard was saying in the chat. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid also to tell, for example, a team manager, please talk slowly so I'm able to understand you. If you find someone, as Rene speaks very, very fast, and they won't get mad, they won't think that you are, I don't know, stupid or anything. They will do it, and they will appreciate that because you are trying to understand what they are trying to tell you or what they are saying. So don't be afraid to ask questions to anyone. They will really appreciate it. So don't.
Because remember, as Richard says, you are a team. And
Yeah.
if one part of your team isn't working well, then your team doesn't work well overall. And you want to be success. And the only way you can be a success is if everybody's working together. So never be afraid to speak up. We really, really want to, we like to educate in the past, all tournaments that we go to. So it's a great learning for everyone.
One thing I do.
Go ahead.
Well, one thing I do whenever I travel is I usually ask, if it's a language I'm not familiar with, just help me, with some common things that, common words, so that way sometimes if I'm on the sideline, I can hear, maybe I'll hear like somebody's asking about water. Okay, do they need water for the pitch, or do they need it for something else? Just different dialects and whatnot. Just pick up little pieces of knowledge, and yeah.
So that's very good because you do want to help, and you can't do your job well if you don't understand. That's very good. And you want to learn about the customs and the cultures of the area you're going to, because you want to be respectful. And if you're working with the local organizing committee, they will work harder to work with you.
I think, Renee, another point to add is being aware of certain gestures or mannerisms that could also be not questionable, just offensive, that you're not familiar with as well. So I think it's not just words, but also things that you do or just act that might be taken very differently. It's very important. Just, again, the more conversation you can have with people who are very familiar with it, or even just a good conversation to have with your TD in a pre-tournament conversation. What do they know about having traveled there or been there before? Because I think, again, to your point, you can really help yourself by being aware of those. And in traveling, the best way to say is you can kind of, quote, earn points by being respectful ahead of time.
All good suggestions. Has anybody had an experience that they felt that worked really well for them?
No,
Okay. No? All right. So, Lorena,
the
we talked a
judge.
lot about, yeah, we can just put it up there. I
Sorry.
think
Yeah.
we've covered a lot of the stuff. And pretty much when you're appointed now, you're a technical official. And this judge part just comes, we don't appoint judges particularly anymore. It's just a grouping. So you just do different roles, and you're still part of the team, and you'll be assigned in the TMS as either the timing judge or the scoring judge. So what's the most important thing of the judge's role? What's the number one of all the things you do? What's number one? There's one number one thing
Please,
of all your roles.
everyone at the time, and mute your mic and scream.
Say at the same time, because it should be, you should all say the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
What's number one in your role as a judge?
Come on.
I think that the
Important
number one
communication.
role is the time. Be precise with the time, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Actually,
Because that's the thing
Timekeeping.
that counts the most is the time.
The clock. Ole.
Because the TMS you can always fix, but you can't, it's the fixing the clock can be a challenge. So number one is that the timing judge needs to focus and be on time, and you have your backup times, you know, whether you use the TMS as your backup or use a stopwatch, whatever it is, you have to make sure you have the time, number one. Everything else will fall into place, you know, making sure that you put the time or the score up when they score, you keep the records in the TMS, LTS, or whatever the matches you're using. If someone gets injured, you got to make sure you have the medical reports ready to go, as well as yellow card reports. You want to make sure you can help, as you discussed, when you have your pre-tournament, working well. If your TO is off working with one bench and the other bench is having a challenge, you want to make sure you identify that and let the TO know so they can handle that as well. Prepare all the documentation so the technical official can get that signed off. There's lots of things you do as a judge, and it's all roles are as important. They are very, very important. And if one person's not doing their role well, then the entire team for that match isn't doing well. So you want to work well with each other, help each other, figure out how to communicate with each other so that you can each accomplish your role for the tournament, for that match. Lorena, or anyone else want to bring anything up?
No, I was going to ask if someone wants to share any experience or something about the role of the judges. No?
Okay. Why don't you go to give some little, if you do our mentee.
Yes, I would like to do like a wrap up of these three these three roles and responsibilities, because now we know that it's not all the responsibilities of the technical delegate. It's not I don't know, part of the responsibility only for the technical officer on duty. So each of these three roles, the three of them, they have their own responsibility and they have their own job to do, and there are different roles, and as we will continue saying, we are a team, and but I think this is important. We are all responsible for our own role and appointment. So just to be aware of that. Yes, here. We would like to do some anonymous voting or input for you. We would like to know your thoughts and experiences. If you go, you can do it on your cell phone or on your notebook too. Go to www.menti.com. You will be asked a code 332266. I will need to set up, just wait. We'll share my screen again. Yeah, code 332266. No, this is not the one, sorry. Wait. Ah, yes, it was that one, sorry.
Tenemos a Lorena concentrada.
Ya vieron la cara, ¿no?
You see your concentration face. That's right.
Yes, you understand
I
Spanish,
understood
Renee.
that. I understood
Congratulations.
that. Yeah.
So here we have this Menti. So once you insert this code 332266, you will have this question about the tournament performance feedback. We would like to know your thoughts and experiences about that. If you think that the feedback that you have on the tournaments, even though it's the form that each of us gets, or I don't know, the talking feedback that you get from the technical delegate, if it is useful, if you can I don't know, move forward from that, if you have things to improve there on that feedback or from the technical delegate. We would like to know about that because I don't know, to see if that it's something useful for each of us in order to improve for the next tournament. Renee, do you want to sing a song?
I was going to say, well, no. I was going to say, from what we hear and we understand, we're hoping someday that this tournament will change, this feedback form will change so that it can be more like the umpire one. I know maybe Willard at the very end will be able to chime in on that because he is on the FIH officials committee. He's the chair of the competitions committee, so I don't know if he will have that information for us, but maybe could share a little bit on that while you're putting your thoughts out. And the only thing I could sing would be the Jeopardy theme.
All of you are able to enter Menti and to enter the code. Are you answering? Are you sharing your thoughts?
If we have it usually pops right up there when you put them in. Here, I'll pretend I'm doing it. Let me just see. All right. Oh yeah, it comes up right away.
Why I cannot see it?
I don't know. I can see, but let me see. I'll put something out there.
Ah, yes. Wait.
Is there information?
We share the screen again.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Great. So the form that I received is usually worded in very respectful and positive manner. This is appreciated, and having constructive goals for the future is always valued. I think that's great that you can know what things you need to improve and work at, but also it's nice to hear or read what you're doing well so you can focus on what you need to improve on. You can read the other one, Lorena?
I thought you were going to read it.
I mean, something about accepting and comments and speak with a mentor, maybe?
Don't be afraid. Accept the comments and talk to your mentor when you go back home.
Yeah, a little bit. I got a little bit of it.
Yes, that's good, and it's also good if maybe if you don't have a mentor or if you don't have, I don't know, someone there with a little bit more of experience, or maybe someone which has the same experience as you, to share there, to share how was your tournament. Good. Someone else? Do I need to refresh? Yes. It would be good for TDs to have information from their officers about their performance. Yeah. My tournament experience thus far have been good. I have been lucky to work with competent persons, friendly persons. I can't complain.
So what if you were at a tournament and there was someone that you were challenged with? Possibly be challenged with not just you, but some of your other parts of your teammate. How would you handle that?
If it is that person is the TD, each tournament has.
That tournament was hard.
The tournament would have a PAF representative there who you possibly could speak with, but before you go in there, you would want to see how best you can resolve whatever the challenge is with your TD, because you're going to be asked to work together for the duration of the tournament.
That is excellent. Always go first to the person, no matter what role they're in, and then if it's not working out, you can certainly go, as Richard says, to potentially the PAF representative. Or if it's another technical official at your level, just like he said, talk to them first.
Here we have some good input on the chat. Feedbacks not always reflect what happened. Receiving feedback is an experience. That's true. So true.
That is true. And every TD has a different way that they give the feedback form. Some will sit down and converse with you over the whole thing, or maybe just focus on one area. Some will just give you the form and say, you read it later and you can come to me. I mean, each person is different on how they give the feedback.
And I will add to that also giving feedback, it's one of the things that we can work on because it's also part of the communication but giving feedback, it's not an easy task, and it's something that you can read on different websites or papers or things like that, and it's something that you can work on and improve it.
Yeah, and it can be challenging because it may not be comfortable for you, and the only way you're going to get comfortable with it is actually to do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. So here we have our second question on the Menti, and maybe we talk about it, but if you want to answer this question quickly, what skills does a TO has to have? Communication is one. Let's see if you can think of different ones. Same code 332266. Patience, knowledge.
No. Problem solving, very good. And if you've been at a PAF tournament, you've probably used that one quite a bit.
What's the second one?
Organization, multitasking, awareness. Excellent. Good communication, technology skills, humor. Humor is a good one because you're all in it together. Flexibility.
patience, support. How can I do it? How can I help?
Manage your people. Smile. Be nice. Smiles go a long way. Be nice. Work on, speaking English as best as possible. Communication.
Yeah, we have on the chat preparation, commitment, responsibility, enjoyment.
Yeah, because you remember you're there. You've taken time off, and you're off from work or you're away from home. You want to make sure you enjoy what you're doing. You do it for the love of the game, and you want to make sure you enjoy it to your fullest.
Be there for the team.
Know the rules and functions. And that's a good point. Be there for the team. It's not about you. It's not about what you're doing. You're just a part of this big experience, and you want to be and involved in it and enjoy it. So the teams and the players are the number one focus, and the overall tournament being successful, and you just are a part of that, and you want to make sure that what you do, does that. Empathy is a great one. All right, Lorena, you want to go to the last one?
Yes, and for the next one, we need to use a different code. And the code is 701819. And the question is, if you observe a possible error in someone applying a rule or a regulation, what do you do? What do you do? What can you do? What will be your first gut? Or maybe you think about it and you do it.
Repeat the code, please.
701819.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So we have one here. Write it down. Bring it to your team. Discuss with the TO or the TD.
Talk to the TD as soon as possible. Talk with a colleague to see if things on the same way.
Depends on who, depends on when. Highlight same with TD. It would depend much on the situation where we are. If possible, I would wait until I could speak with that person and the rest of the team to work it out the best way. But if it is urgent, I would have to intervene to avoid that error. And that is so true. If it's affecting the game and affecting the outcome, potential could affect the game, you want to certainly be proactive and intervene if you can. It doesn't always mean that they'll listen or do anyway, and if it doesn't work out, you certainly then go to the next level. Try to help talking to the right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Try to help talking to the right person to fix the situation as fast as possible, so that it doesn't affect anyone. Make a question about that with your TO, TD, or you can Skype Laura. She's gotten questions during tournaments.
make a question of honor with with Laura. But good.
Very good. Does anybody have an
Laura,
example?
both Lauras, Laura Pigretti
Yes.
and Laura Macchiotti, they are both very good sources of information.
Now, has anyone witnessed something that was going on, and then can you give us the outcome of your situation? Did this happen to anybody? Because we all can learn. No one?
Boo, boring.
I know. Don't be afraid. It happens.
I had a situation as a TO where it was pointed out that due to a potential misinterpretation of the rules, that the teams could not have two goalkeepers if they only had 16 people on the I'm sorry, not 16, 17 people on the roster. So ended up having to get the TD involved on that, but because of the way the rule was written, or the way the regulation's written, it could be interpreted that if you have 16 field players, you can only have one goalie, but or you can have two goalies if you have 18, something like that. But it was stressful because I'm trying to say, all right, I need the extra player to be outside the fence until we get this situated. And the coach didn't want to deal with it.
So they were trying to have 18 players, so 17 field players and one goalkeeper?
No. 18. No, they had two keepers. So they only had 15 field players on the roster.
Okay, and so you had two goalkeepers and they had one less field player.
Correct.
So they were saying they couldn't have the goalkeeper because they didn't have 16 field players, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And it was one of my first tournaments. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, but all right, we'll get people involved.
And what was the outcome?
Eventually, yes. So they had after the discussion that was reviewed, and it was eventually the player was allowed on the pitch, even though he wasn't dressed up. I mean, he had his kit on, but he wasn't actually playing. But they didn't want him on the sideline with the rest of the team. But he was eventually allowed.
Okay.
And one thing that you said, it was really useful, which is get people involved. Of course, people that needs to be involved, but you can ask for help, and of course you will go to the technical delegate, but that's a good one.
Yeah, and then still managing the match at the same time.
Yeah.
And in the chat, we have a scenario like coaching from the fence or abuse from team officials, got assistance from the TD to have it stopped. Okay.
The TD is always very useful in different situations to calm everything down and to stop people from messing around with you and with different situations.
Absolutely.
Someone else wants to share other situation, scenario? Otherwise, we will continue to the next topic.
We had a situation in which one team showed up in black socks, the other team showed up in navy blue socks, and we had to, I mean, there was something we could have done ahead of time, more eyes looking at it and sorting it out before. So that was just something took away is that it's always good to have a couple more eyes looking at kit assignments, because that was not a comfortable day, that game.
Yes,
Very
but
good.
you always have white tape on your kid, so you can give them white tape for the
Oh
socks.
no, we were able to work it out, but it could have been, we could have taken care of it the day before had more eyes looked at it.
Of sure, of course, for sure. Yes. Someone
Okay,
else,
so
another situation, something to share?
Marina, why don't you set up the next one while they're thinking
Yeah,
about it, because we're at
yeah.
8 o'clock.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
This topic is about the tournament documents that we all need to read and to know to go to a tournament. So come on, let's start talking. And so if you talk, we won't be so long. We will take, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes from these topics, and we are finished then. So come on, let's share your concerns, your situations, your experiences about tournament regulations, about rules, about code of conduct, about this form which we can see in the middle of the screen, the form where we tick all those things when checking equipment, documents, and goalkeeper staff, masks, TMS. Everyone knows tournament regulations, rules, code of conduct. None of you have any doubt, concern, any
Where to
problem,
find them.
any experience.
Well,
you will have an appointment very soon then.
And I heard somebody speaking. Hold on.
Just kidding. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I have a little concern because sometimes the tournament regulations is different between the tournaments, and sometimes a few aspects are really particular from the tournaments, and you never know what can apply for certainly type of tournaments, and for others no, you don't can apply, and stuff like that.
Can you give us an example of that situation?
Well, sometimes the difference is in the number of participants in the benches, or for the compose of the teams.
And that's why it is important. If you go to the FIH website, you will see that there's multiple regulations for different tournaments. And actually, the PAF was able to get some for the Pan American Games to make sure that they meet multi-sport type things, that occur, because it's different than others. So it's very important that you review, because you are absolutely right. There are differences at different types of tournaments, and the higher level you go, and sometimes there's a lot more differences in some very, very specifics just for that tournament. So that was a great example.
And can you see my screen that I'm on
Yes.
the FIH website?
Yes.
So I will need to stop sharing my screen to being able to access the chat. But I will send you this link. But it's all the documents. This page, it's like our Bible. If you go to the FIH website, on the top menu, you go to Inside FIH, and then go to our official documents. So this is the road, and then scroll down, and you will find here the rules of hockey. You can download it there, and Here we will find the other documents, event resources. Into event resources, you click on read more, and this is our page where we can find all of the code of conduct, also guidelines for the hearing process, the competition policies. We will find the event specifications, venue specifications. There's a whole medical section with documents, qualification criteria for different tournaments, sanctioned and unsanctioned events, and this is really useful for us to know. And here we have, as you can see, we have this many tournament regulations. The World Cup has its own, Olympic Games, Youth Olympic Games, Commonwealth, and Asian Games. We have all of the different tournament regulations, but if it's useful for you to know and to go and read these general tournament regulations. So that's kind of the main frame of the rest of the regulations. So if you go to a particular tournament, you will have your particular tournament regulations. And you will see that it has many appendix where you can find there the shootout competition. You can find there the format of the tournament that is going to be played. You will find all of the information there, checking uniforms, how a team is supposed to be built. I don't know how many players and how many goalkeepers, and how many people and who can be on the bench. All of that information, it's on the tournament regulation. So this is super important, and it's connected with the questions that we've been talking at the beginning of the open space. Of course, I get an appointment and I have a lot of questions, and the first thing, it's important to, okay, which tournament I'm appointed to, and then I can go to the FIH or to the PAF website to look for the tournament regulations of that tournament. So many of the questions that I have, I'm not talking about travel arrangement or things like that. I'm talking about the tournament itself. I will find all of the information that I need for the tournament in these tournament regulations. Of course, the administration part of the tournament, which is traveling, visa, I don't know, hotel, transportation, officials, liaison, that's in a different part of the communication thing. But related to the tournament, everything is here. I have also here the different forms for the tournament, and we have a whole section for the TMS. User guide, frequent asked questions, umpire instructions, also team manager instructions. We have a lot of documents here, and how to access the training environment, which is really useful. I can start playing around with TMS and learn from it. And here also the uniform advertising documents. We will have it all in this lovely page, and go and check regularly, because all of these documents, they are updated. You don't know when they are updated, so that's why you will have to go to this website and check if you have the last version of the document that you need to read and you need to know by heart.
And one question that Willard asked is, so where there are differences in how things are handled from event to event, what is the important point you can draw from this? Someone can put it in the chat, they can speak out. What do you think is the most important point you can draw from this when there's differences in how things are handled from event to event?
I think in the sanction section, it's different, right, about the tournaments.
Okay, and then we have another response, how to proceed in an amicable resolution.
Is that okay?
Well, that's part of it.
You need to have patience and understanding and empathy that not everyone may have be on the same page as what the tournament's being run as. Coach teams, team managers and such.
Okay. Clarify point for consistency. Good point. We can let Willard expand on this.
Let's
You need to review
see if they share.
Here's another one. You need to review the specific regulations prior to the event. Changes will be brought out in briefings and shared with teams and officials. Communication of the changes is important. Excellent response.
Yes.
Very good.
Someone else wants to share over the chat for the shy ones? No? Willard, would you like
No,
to?
did they cover all the points you'd like? Is your microphone working?
Willard, maybe you are talking and your mic is mute.
No, we're not hearing you. He says, "Are you hearing me?" I'm like, "No, you're not.
No.
We don't hear you." No, we don't hear you, Willard. Oh, I don't think we're going to hear from Willard.
Renee, would you like to add something on that?
I think the key point is, since I can't hear Willard, I'm going to say the most important point here is that you always need to be prepared and that you need to make sure that you know what's going on for that event. So like some people have pointed out here, you have, is that you, Willard? No?
Hi, are you hearing me?
Oh, yeah, now we're hearing you.
Sound and
Okay,
clear.
sorry. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Sorry to be late. The answer basically is this. Every event may have a different regulation, a set of regulations, and there are things in there that will be different. So do not assume if you get appointed to a tournament that the regulations are the same. It may vary because it may be a youth tournament, a hockey fives, a full 11. So the point really I wanted to bring out is that you need to prepare for the event that you're going to, and you need to find the documents and read up on the documents and acquaint yourself with the documents pertaining to that event. If you're not sure, you go to your TD and ask, where you can find the documentation. Lorena has pointed you to the FIH website and where you can get it. But you can have it. You can actually go to the TD and ask the question as well. And because you need to be prepared. So that's the point. Be prepared by reading the relevant document pertaining to the event that you are appointed to. Simple.
Thank you, Willard.
Yeah.
And one point from I'm sure that some of you have the same experiences, but one thing that I know Lorraine and I talked about today, and we want to make sure we pointed out, is that, a lot of you had said you're in the beginning that we were afraid, you might be nervous when you go outside of the path to people you don't know are you prepared enough? Will you be ready for that level? And rest assured, if you work in the path and if you prepare yourself properly, you will do well. You will be prepared and you will be an active member of the team. So we just wanted to make sure that point was brought across.
Yes, that's important. Do not go into an event outside of path fearful.
Yes.
You are one of the best, and in the world, and you're best prepared. So go brave. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Use your mentors. I heard that earlier on. Use people that you know from the path, senior people who can assist you. Some one of us will be available. So go brave.
Absolutely. So Lorena had one more screen.
The last screen, we thank you all for being here. We've been talking about these topics that we've been like asking questions and of course things that we know because we started one time being an official, but we will ask you to go to Menti again, and this is to ask for your feedback about this open space and also about the topics. I will put the Menti on just a little bit.
And
Lorena,
Laura, Laura.
I'm also leaving in the chat a feedback link for our records. It can be done anonymous. If you don't want to put your name, you can do it without putting your name. It is always good to have your names so we can custom our courses, our webinars to your needs. But still, if you don't want to put your name, you can fill in the form without your name. No problem with that.
Right.
So we are asking you two feedbacks.
Yes, two feedbacks.
Well, this is the general feedback for all webinars and everything we do. So something different.
Yes, and we want to know if you want what other topics you'd like to discuss.
Here, the code of Menti is 602676. What do you think about having this open space for official? If it's something good, something you think it's useful, it was needed, we need to improve it for sure, or if you would like to have another format. And then we will have a second slide. We would like you to leave the what other topics. For those that said it needs to be improved in order to work for TOs, we would like please then go to once you fill the feedback that Laura sent the link, please write down there what other things we will need to change to do differently, or if you came up with a different format, please try to be specific there, with or without your name, because this space, we came up with this open space for us, for officials. So if you think that we can improve it or we can do something different, please let us know. We won't know if you don't tell us.
Everyone's time is valuable. Everyone's time is valuable, and we want to make sure that we use your time, appropriately.
Yeah. Yes. Only 5 people there. I think that it's important for everyone to sign in here and go to Menti and leave your input. Six.
Where do I find the other survey?
Sorry?
Richard wants the next survey on what other topics you would like to discuss. I think you have to change the.
Yes, I would like to know if everyone voted on this one, because once I go to the next slide, you won't be able to get into this one.
Oh, okay. I'll wait.
Just a few seconds. We leave time for everyone to vote on this one, and then we go all together to the next one.
Lore, tenés una pregunta en el chat.
La pregunta si necesitamos mejorar o si la pregunta es si este open space, este formato que todos participamos hoy, que es para nosotros los oficiales, si está bueno, si quisiéramos tener más de estos open space porque era necesario. La del medio sería, está bueno el espacio, pero necesita mejorarse en orden de que nos sirva a nosotros los oficiales. O yo preferiría que exista o tenerlo en otro formato. Y entonces ahí lo que quisiéramos saber es que por favor nos digan a través del feedback, del link que mandó Laurita, que ahí hay una sección donde ustedes pueden dejar ahí comentarios que nos digan. A mí me parece mejor quizás este formato, ¿sí? Porque si me decís otro formato, puedo estar adivinando distintos formatos. En cambio, quizás a alguno se le ocurre o tiene alguna experiencia que hace, qué sé yo, en el trabajo o en algún otro lugar. Se generan, hoy en día, sobre todo con el digital, se generaron distintos espacios nuevos, si se les ocurre.
Can you see the chat? There's something in Spanish. I think it's
Yes, I was answering that one, clarifying
okay, good. Just want to make sure
of the question. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, very good.
Okay, we will go to the next slide, and here, what topics would you like to discuss on future sessions? And while you are leaving your thoughts and your desires about the topics, I would say that now we are all together here, so we start I don't know, knowing each other a little bit more. So now I know that I can contact straight to Richard, or I can contact straight to Agustina, or to Gabriela, or to Brenda. I know everyone which is here now, so this can be one of my group of contact people if I have any doubt for my next appointment, for my next tournament. Of course, Rene and myself, we are here also. If you have any doubt, if you have, I don't know, any question or something that, I don't know, you forgot about it, or maybe you didn't have any appointment last year, and you would like to know if what things change, or maybe you will have an appointment, you will have a tournament because you have an appointment, and you would like to, I don't know something. We are all the group of contact.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know if I have to refresh. No? Come on, this is the last one, and you go to have dinner or go to sleep. I don't know. Dealing the odd, can you, I don't know, set any example in there, or maybe on the chat, go to the chat and leave, because it's quite wide, dealing the odd, I don't know. It can be many things. Can be dealing the odd with your team of officials, dealing the odd with a team, dealing the odd with the organization, dealing the odd with your own national association. It can be different, many things. Acá lo mismo. ¿Qué serían situaciones difíciles? ¿En dónde situaciones difíciles? ¿Es durante el partido? ¿Es con compañeros? ¿Discusiones? No sé, ¿qué situaciones difíciles serían esas? Clarify roles at the bench, what can do and what don't, and how to work with some types of situations during the matches. Discipline, handling them. Along with the topics, I would like to hear about other officials' experiences and other situations were handled. We would like to hear other officials too. We were trying, no, René? We were trying.
We were
today.
trying. We were trying. And I was thinking about one thing. I was thinking about is just having one with just different things that have happened, and people present them, and then you review them with everybody. And sometimes you can come up with a different outcome than the one that you had in your experience, which is good because then you can think of it in different ways. That might just be a situations and presentation, different situations.
Well, if there are if everyone is thinking maybe different scenarios, different what if situations, on the form that Laura sent, on that feedback form, write them there. Write this what if situation. It can be something that you experienced, something that you saw in any tournament, or situations that you think about it and you don't know how to solve it, or which would be the best way to manage that situation. Let us know. If you want to write straight to René or myself, do it. We are happy to read those, but we need to know what are these situations that you have in mind or that you experience. If you don't want to share them, just write it on the feedback form, write it right now on the chat, or send us an email. Do you agree with that situation? Let us know, please.
Lorena, Willard is raising his hand.
Okay, Willard, you can speak.
All right. Just to add to what Lorena is trying to get across, it's important to know what needs you have, because right now we are trying to prepare some new webinars that will deal with specific areas, specific things, things that are, as one of you have put up there, that are not odd, they're kind of odd, or they may be not something that you will normally get. So, I see on the chat somebody put about a manager. How do you deal with a manager wanting to go to the bathroom? But maybe we can have, how do we deal with managers? That's something that we're looking at. So, please, we need to hear from you what your needs are, what your thoughts are, so that we can prepare webinars, prepare open space discussions to help you. So it's a way of you also getting closer to us in terms of getting the feedback and the experience to help you to develop.
And as Willard said, the better we develop you, the more comfortable and confident you will be when you go to any tournament, no matter where it is in the world.
Yes. Well, we reach to the end of our first open space here.